Time to get moving, everybody rock steady. It's time, now it's time. Get on the ball, get on the right track. No time to lose, there's no looking back. It's time, I said it's time. Hey now, what you gonna do if that passes you by? You get left alone and wonder why. The time is now, no hesitating. You got the green light, tell me why are you waiting? It's time. I said it's time. Shake it up. Let it be free. He's got the idea right there. Talking, if you can't hit your ride, you better start walking. It's time. I said it's time. Oh, get on the ball, get on the right track. No time to lose, no looking back. It's time. Oh, I said it's time. 2, 3, 4. Lord, Lord, what you gonna do if that passes you by? You get left alone, you wonder why. Well, the time is now, no hesitating. You got the green light. Ooh, why are you waiting? It's time. I said it's time. Talk to me, boys. I like it, I like it. Hey, hey, hey. Lord, Lord, what you gonna do if that passes you by? You get left alone, you wonder why. I said the clock is ticking, there's no time for talking. If you can't hit your ride, you better start walking. It's time. He knows it's time. It's time, man. I said it's time. I mean it's time. Whip it.
Yeah. All right, it is that time. Michael J. Steele here, host of the Michael J. Steele for Senate Show, coming at you live from downtown Fargo, North Dakota. Glad you're all here. Wow, look at all the people in the audience tonight. Very exciting, very exciting. Yeah, I'd like to just start the show real quick. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Tonight we're going to have another kind of, going to have a sequel to the last show, you know. Hey, Shannon, welcome back. Shannon was actually the co-host of the last show, the last hour. Thank you, Shannon. We're going to have another part of my, actually, it's about democracy. We're talking about true democracy and what it really means. And we're trying to let the skeptics know, and this is kind of a part of our educational programming that I do here, Michael J. Steele for Senate, to help people understand what democracy is really about, unlike some of those people with the Democratic NPL that are being partisan right now, that were partisan to me at the convention in Fargo, that basically they tried to send me to Bismarck, North Dakota, and there was no convention there. And actually, I checked on the website and found out and made some calls to my constituents in Bismarck, said, don't come here, go to the one in Fargo or you'll miss out. And that's when I found out that they got this lady from Nebraska that the party, the Cass County Democrats, were endorsing, which is totally blew my mind. But I had to fight and raise a ruckus and raise a stink, and to get my voice heard. And actually, they're making her as the front runner right now in Fargo at the Cass County Dems. But actually, I'm the front runner. I declared 4 years ago. I am the declared candidate. I'm all over the internet. I'm with the FEC. I've filed with the IRS. I'm on Ballotpedia, the number one source of candidates in the world. Wikipedia, Ballotpedia, you name it, I'm there. And I've been there, news sources, radio shows. I've been on talk shows. And I'm the guy. She's actually the challenger to me for the Democratic primary here in North Dakota. I'm not the challenger to her, and they're making me out like kind of like a bully and a male chauvinist pig. And like I say, my advisor is the greatest female candidate that ever ran in North Dakota, and she told me keep it a secret. She is my mentor. We will do a reveal on her a little closer on to the race, but she wrote many books, and she actually beat 5 incumbents. And she told me the worst thing that could happen to me about a month ago is that the Democratic NPL will try to throw you under the bus and get a woman against you because they'll try to make you out a bully or a male chauvinist pig. And that's just what the heck that Heidi Heitkamp and some of the Democratic NPL leaders did, because they want power. And like I said, there's big money players. Heidi Heitkamp raised $39 million in her last campaign. She spent about $27 million, according to her FEC reports. She's got an estimated $9 or $12 million left that she could either pay taxes on or put in her pocket or transfer to another candidate. I believe she kept about $7 million, left some to transfer over, maybe to help this candidate, this lady from Nebraska. It seems like she's probably helping. And the NPL was endorsing her, which is against the Democratic NPL nonpartisan league's actual state standings and what they've claimed, because they said they weren't going to endorse anybody till after our state convention in Minot, North Dakota, which is on the 24th through the 27th. That's when they're supposed to get together after candidates such as myself and other candidates prove who they are through their campaigning and what they've done, through interviews and rallies, debates, and everything else. Well, they've gone out and actually promoted this woman out of the blue, this candidate, and they're, because Heidi Heitkamp has an agenda. She stated many times that she wants 100% female leadership in our state, which is actually very biased and partisan against me. And I've been running 4 years, and she gave me actually the Valentine Day massacre kiss of death is what she tried to do on the 14th when this candidate actually came out and declared her candidacy. And her brother, Joel Heitkamp, actually had on KFGO radio, gave a nice lengthy bunch of interviews of her and stuff, and they're promoting this person and just totally ignoring me, which is horrible, horrible, horrible. And I hope those with the Democratic NPL throughout the state are listening. I do have allies, though. Earl Pomeroy has talked to me about it. He told me, yeah, they're tempted to do anything. They're dirty. And Byron Dorgan and Ken Conrad, they're kind of disgusted. And, there was some NPL people now that I've talked to when I was at West Acres come to me and said, hey, some of them become independents because when Heidi took over, a lot of my people that were in during the best years of the state of North Dakota with Earl Pomeroy and Byron Dorgan, Ken Conrad, new people took over. Some of the good people left and become independents because of the mistreatment of these power grabbers and money-hungry people that took over. But I helped Heidi Heitkamp get elected through secret channels and stuff, and I actually seen, like I say, Heidi Heitkamp, talked to her when Bill Clinton came here, and I talked to Bill Clinton too, because I've been in the game. I'm 52 years old. They come to me as almost like the Kissinger of North Dakota, because everybody I try to get in gets in. And I know a lot of people too, and I'm a power player here for years, since 92. I've gotten Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, independents. I've gotten people in. I get the thing going, and I'm the guy to go to. because I got the experience, the know-how, the education, and I got it down to a science, and people know me and trust me because I'm honest. I have an integrity, and I tell the truth, even if it hurts. So I hope people are listening and learning, and tonight we're going to give real democracy. Like I say, I have a committee, the campaign committee to elect Michael J. Steele in D.C. has endorsed me. They're a 527. They also have a 501c3. They've been working with me for 4 years. And also there is the Small Business Party endorsed me too. So if the Democratic NPL should cut my throat, which they've been doing in Fargo, it's a big party. There's people throughout the whole state with the NPL that may not cut my throat. We don't know. It's not over yet. Might help me out, but I also am a Democrat, and the Democratic National Committee may choose me. I may get endorsed by the Democratic National Committee because I am a real Democrat, and they know me too. And I've worked with the Washington Democratic National Committee for years, and they worked with me in Fargo and know who I am. I've worked with Barack Obama. I've worked with presidents on both sides of the aisle. So this isn't my first rodeo. If it push them to shove, I know who to call and what to do, So never fear, Michael J. Steele is here, and we're going to get things done. But tonight's show is going to be about democracy and what it really means to set the Democratic NPL and get rid of some of this partisan politics and bickering and get rid of it because, we need to work with both sides of the aisle to get things done in Washington. And if we want to clean up the swamp, we got to get rid of Democrats and Republicans alike on both sides of the aisle and clean house. And the power to the people that can do that and I choose people over profits, and we can get rid of this Joe Manchin to begin with, who John Hoeven, the front runner incumbent up here with $52 million, is going to on everything. And he's quoting John Manchin, the worst slumlord guy in the world, who's got the dirtiest coal mines in the country right now. And Joe Biden actually had a thing to clean up the environment. Manchin went against it because he'd have to spend money to clean up these coal mines. And right now, 5 groups went up to him for the coal miners unions and said, hey, this is a good idea. We'll get better wages. We'll have cleaner coal mines. We'll have safety things. We got a lot of money that'll come into our state to create training, jobs, a healthier environment for West Virginia. And he's the one that shut it down because it's going to cost him a few bucks to clean his act up. And he don't want to do that because he's a slumlord and he just wants to keep milking this cash cow he's got there with his corrupt government and his corrupt bullcrap he's got in West Virginia. So we got to get him out of our party because he's not even a Democrat. He's not a Republican. He's just a crooked son of a bitch. And we got to get him out of there. Okay, we're going to do our weather update now because I do that as a service for people in North Dakota that are traveling. We always do our up-to-the-minute weather report for anyone in North Dakota. And because, like I say, the weather's going to get bad. And right now it is 9:55 Central Standard Time, Sunday, February 20th, 2022. And currently in Fargo, where I'm at, downtown Fargo, it's 0 degrees. We got a north wind at 20 miles an hour. It is negative 22 below zero right now. Our humidity is 68%. Visibility is down to 9 miles. Now it was at 10. It's cloudy and very extremely windy out there. Barometric pressure is 30.32 inches and rising. Dew point is negative 8 degrees. So it's going to get very cold tonight, and by 12 o'clock, about 11 or 12, we're going to get a lot of snow showers and a lot more wind, people. So if you're on them highways in North Dakota, be careful. You might want to stay off the roads because once you get that 20, 25 mile an hour wind with a lot of snow, you can have some whiteout conditions throughout the Red River Valley here and throughout North Dakota in general, which will close down the highways. If you get stranded on a highway and it's 25, 30 below zero, you run out of gas, you don't have a safety kit there, you could die. So I'd stay off the roads and just use the highways for emergencies only if you got to be somewhere on short trips. So right now, winter storm warning is in effect now until Tuesday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time throughout North Dakota. So be very careful. I mean, when is this going to end, people here? 3 months we've had of this stuff. We haven't had weather like this since probably 1978, 79 when I was a kid in North Dakota. This is probably the most snow we've had, and probably record-breaking temperatures in the last, since the 70s. It's been horrible here. Heating bills are putting people out on the streets right now in North Dakota. It's putting people in hock. It's just been miserable here as far as these cold temperatures. Like I say, tonight's going to be an ongoing show about democracy, real democracy, not partisanship. You know, we have this nonpartisan league in North Dakota that's been pretty great, but lately they've been very partisan, and we're going to teach them a little lesson tonight. That's what us senators do. We not only inform and educate, we tell Washington what the people want, and we inform people, educate about voting and everything else that's going on. And hopefully that's what's kind of going on right now. So I hope that's okay. Somebody just sent me something. I don't know what this means. I'm trying to figure it out. Trying to figure something out here. Just got a text came across my thing here. Oh, okay. Someone just sent me something. All right. It's kind of an update here from my staffer, but we haven't heard from Zach. Our chief of staff went in. The Air Force grabbed him last week, and we don't know where Zach is. Shannon, we're going to be discussing. We might have a new chief of staff here. If Zach's doesn't come back from the Air Force, Shannon Lynn Jordan might become our next chief of staff, which would be awesome. So I'll tell you what, she knows her Constitution, and that's what I want, someone that believes in her Constitution and all kinds of other things we're on the same page about. Okay, here we go. This is a continuance of our series of what democracy is all about, brought to you by Michael J. Steele, United States Senate candidate for North Dakota. And this is kind of almost like a lecture, but not a lecture, because if you want to call in, the phone lines are going to be open. But I may break into this while we're talking on and off if our discussion kind of has some lulls in it. But if it don't, hey, we'll keep going. You know, that's just the way it works. If our discussion's rocking and rolling, we're going to rock. All right. This is what the Democratic Party of 2022 upholds. We uphold high values, and this is what we want to do because, you know, my personal journey right now is to restore confidence in the great institutions in America. You know, that when we were children, things that we looked up to. You know, we used to be number one in science and math and everything, medical, everything. We were number one. Now we're ranked like 38th and this, 17th, 26th. You know, our numbers are down, and we got to restore confidence in our voting system, our institutions, our teachers in Fargo right now. Are ready to protest and picket and strike in Fargo and throughout this whole area because the morale's down at the police department. 35 people quit, 35 officers last year quit, and the morale's down. They're almost getting ready to fire the police chief here in Fargo. They want a new chief. I mean, just all kinds of infighting going on in Fargo over power grabs and greed and money and poor leadership and all kinds of stuff happening. But hopefully, people can get their act together and act like adults here, and we can restore confidence in our institutions. And that goes for all local, state, national institutions. Because if we don't get it together, our children are going to be screwed because they need leadership right now more than everything, especially with what's all going on in the country, pandemic, school shootings. Everything's coming to a head, I believe, at the forefront. We may be going to war with Russia. God forbid we don't, because we got nukes. In my state, North Dakota has more nukes than any country on the world. So kiss my ass goodbye. I'll be one of the first to go where I'm at here in North Dakota. All right, here we go. Democratic Party 2022. This is we uphold high values. You know, the real Democrats, not the fake, phony, baloney ones that are partisan and pretending to be nonpartisan. We feel called to politics of human maturity, devoid of scandals, meanness, hate-mongering, nepotism, ill-mannerism, and cruelty. Okay? This is what real Democrats like me, this is exactly me in a nutshell. Okay? I feel called to politics of human maturity. I feel called to politics devoid of scandals, meanness, hate-mongering, nepotism, which is big in my state right now, North Dakota. There's a lot of people that are ill-mannered, that don't have respect for their elders, that actually were that way towards me at this Democratic NPL convention. And my experience, they just threw out the window, you know, and all the great things, all the doors I've knocked on to get these people elected, they threw that out the window. And there were some people that were very cruel to me, and I don't like that. And I was never cruel to them. I was always congenial, happy to work for them, gave them the best of my ability, and always worked as a professional for these candidates in North Dakota. And I've actually been honored by Earl Pomeroy, Byron Dorgan, and Kent Conrad. They honored me many times in front of the staff, so there could be some jealousy there by some of these power grabbers, you know, and I'm sure there is. We expect our elected officials to adhere to standards of integrity, and that's me. Michael J. Steele. I've been here 4 years. I'm transparent. I'm accessible. You could call me right now and I'll answer my phone 24/7, 7 days a week. I have integrity. I'm a man of the utmost integrity. I have integrity to the law, to excellence and civility. I don't want a civil war in our country. I don't want us to go to war with Russia right now in the Ukraine. You know, I studied the Civil War. I know the horrors of war. I know about the Civil War in our country. It was the worst damn thing that ever occurred, and we don't need another one here. I practice honesty, and sometimes the truth hurts. And I have a strong moral compass also. I denounce lawmakers who foment violence. I denounce lawmakers who degrade our institutions for the sake of personal power. That's why I've been saying all along, we need justice reform in our country. I denounce lawmakers who use raw power and threaten the safety of colleagues who do not share their opinions. Heidi Heitkamp, are you listening? NPL, Democratic NPL, are you listening? I'd like to repeat myself. I denounce lawmakers who use raw power and threaten the safety of me or any colleagues who do not share their opinions. I honor American people by not using fear-baiting tactics, outright law-breaking, misinformation, or any other procedural senselessness. Okay, are you listening? This is who I am, Michael Steele. I am a real Democrat, and these are the core essence and values of real democracy. This might not be a political party thing. This is American democracy. This is what America is all about. This is what Democrats do. Most Democrats, real Democrats, we monitor and we correct our own contributions to an inadvertently sowing distrust in others or increasing divisiveness. Okay, we monitor and correct our own contributions to inadvertently sowing distrust in others or increasing divisiveness. Okay, we do honor American people. We know that the act of blaming others is the act of absolving oneself of responsibility. I'm not blaming anyone at the Democratic NPL. I'm just telling you what they did to me. Hence our ongoing focus on actions that advance the future of all Americans rather than criticizing others. Well, I'm trying to advance the future of all Americans by exposing what had happened to me, because if this kind of behavior continues to happen, I don't think my future or anybody's future that comes before me or after me, well, that has come before me or now after me, I don't think their future will be advanced when they throw me under the bus or they shut me out the way they did unfairly by not doing what they're supposed to do, and that is by having the freaking, they're supposed to have the Minot convention where they decide, and that's, like I said, March 27th and through our 24th through 27th. And that's when they're supposed to do all this stuff. We do not demean Asian Americans like Donald Trump and the rest of these other hate mongers have done. We do not demean Muslims, Hispanic Americans who come here that take care of our grandparents, and they take care of our food. They help our farmers. You know, they do a lot of things. We do not demean asylum seekers who are coming here from countries that are trying to kill them. They're coming here for freedom to support their families. They're coming here to contribute to our American way of life like our ancestors and founding fathers did, and our ancestors did, our grandparents did. Okay? And we don't destroy the media by calling everything fake news, unless it's Fox News. That is fake news, because Rupert Murdoch himself said, don't ever trust Fox News. We're entertainment. We don't claim to be real news. He said it. He said it himself. You can look at the videos. They're all over the internet. He said, we claim to be an entertainment station. We don't claim to be news. Excuse me. We believe in practicing humility, us Democrats, in our attempt to solve the wicked problems our nation is faced with, looking for varied viewpoints that can shed light on the issues. We believe in addressing the areas where we fall short. For example, we are examining why did we foresee the speed with which the Taliban took control of Afghanistan. We invite the press to point out our mistakes so we can make the necessary corrections. And I've invited the press into my life so they can help me make the necessary corrections. And I get hot and mad, and I cuss and curse, but when people attack me on this show, I'm going to lose my temper because enough is enough. You know, I've had 8, 9, 10 Republicans attack me and try to lambaste me on the show, and I cuss and curse, and I stand up and fight for what I believe in, and that's you, the American people. And God forgive me for what I've done. You know, but I do that, and I cuss and curse because I'm only human. And I can only take so much, you know, and I'm trying to behave myself now, and I've had a lot of talks with God, and I know God loves me, and God has forgiven me for the times I've cursed and sweared on this show. You know, sticks and stones break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Okay, we want to model professional and civil behavior for our American youth, you know, and I always put explicit content on this show when I share this around on the internet, so that when I'm swearing or you're swearing, and we try to keep this a clean, family-orientated show, which we've tried to do many times, but sometimes it gets out of hand, we will put explicit content, and I put a warning on here, mature audiences only, and I hope people respect that. In our discourse about policies, we are conscious of the importance of balancing different points of view. For example, we look for a balance between the pursuit of individual liberty while focusing on the common good. We have to assume accountability for our individual actions as well as being accountable to one another. You know, we are all Americans. We have to live together, you know, on this planet, on this great spaceship that we're all spinning at 768,000 miles an hour. You know, if this planet ever stops, we're all the same. We're all dead. I respect for the Second Amendment, while, for example, passing reasonable laws that require reasonable background checks on people who want to purchase guns. You know, I'm all about the Second Amendment, and I believe we have the right to defend our family and our homes and our possessions, but I believe that we should have hunter safety courses, you know. I grew up in North Dakota. We're hunters here. We do deer hunting. We have hunter safety here. We bow hunt, we pheasant hunt, we grouse hunt. You know, we do a lot of hunting, but I think our children need to have hunter safety courses taught to them before they're just given a gun and say, here you go out and shoot this and go kill something, you know. And that's something that we have to do. And, you know, like I say, I respect the Second Amendment, while, for example, passing reasonable laws that require reasonable background checks on people that want to purchase a gun. You know, you don't want to give your gun to some terrorist that comes in our country and just say, oh, how many guns you need there, sir? Oh, you want to go kill a bunch of people. Oh, here you go. We don't want to do that. The protection of people's freedom to believe and behave as they want, and yet these freedoms should adhere to the rule of law. We have laws, and we believe that people should obey those laws. That's why they're written. We love welcoming immigrants because their enthusiasm for our country will contribute to our success. And if right now we only have 320 million Americans, and our birth rates have plummeted the last 40 years, and we've just lost almost 1 million people with this pandemic. We have 180,000 children right now in orphanages that nobody's talking about, that social services has. And some of these children actually were taken during the Trump administration. They were actually sent out to orphanages throughout the United States. And some of these children we can't find. Joe Biden has reunited many of these children with their families, but there's still a lot where we don't know where they're at. Welcoming immigrants because their enthusiasm for our country will contribute to our success, which we need people to help contribute to our success, but yet not doing so without consideration of the impact on our current circumstances and communities. Reliance on government to solve overreaching issues without aiding layers of control that reduce our creativity and efficiency, interfere with the vitality of communities, nor by recognizing the necessity of market regulations without stifling the economic health of our nation. Celebration of the value of entrepreneurship. That's what I'm doing in North Dakota right now by developing a small business committee, which I have my people in D.C. We've worked on this for the last 3-4 weeks. This idea came up a long time ago, but now we're trying to make it happen. We're trying to bring it into this week into the state legislature in North Dakota, and we'll see if they want to work with it. If not, I'll have to do it from a federal level and try to get it in that way. And hopefully the Michael J. Steele's proposal and small business initiative will come into North Dakota next week. Like I said, I brought that up in the show a lot. I have a plan to help take North Dakota's GDP. I'd say it's at 50% from actually Zachary got the information about doing research, my chief of staff, and we were at 50th of state's GDP output in North Dakota under Hovind's leadership for the last, while he was 8 years governor, in the last 11 years, 20 years or so, we've been at ranked 50th. But according to the Fargo Forum researchers, our AP, I think it was McPherson or somebody, said we're 43rd. I said we're 50th, but they said according to their data, but they only quoted one source. I actually got the data Zach got it. Actually, the data he quoted was from the data that North Dakota used to do an internal audit with, this IBSIS or ISBS.com. He got their internal data. I don't know where he got it. He's a good researcher. He got that for us. And it was, I'd rather go with the data the state got rather than the data that the Associated Press, somebody got that was from a newspaper clipping. He got the actual audit paperwork, and we got the actual Rise Over Run readings and all the actual data. We have it. My campaign's got the data, and I'd rather use that because it's real numbers, real figures, and we can quote it. We want to reduce extreme extraction practices of the burning dirtier fuels without developing clean energy technologies. That's something that we want to reduce extraction practices or the burning dirtier fuels without developing clean energy technologies. We want to do this, but we want to just stop burning it like Joe Manchin. He's burning dirtier fuels. We have things right now. We have clean energy technology. We don't have to develop anything right now. We already have it. We don't have to develop anything new because we got new technology. So actually, we don't have to waste the money. We've got this stuff. We got wind power. We got solar. We got all this stuff. And we got to clean up things like Joe Manchin's doing in Wisconsin. He's got this coal ash now he's selling, and which is illegal. He actually went in and used his power in the Senate to rewrite laws and rewrite state laws with his cronies there that he has on his take. And they rewrote the laws to say that coal ash is not a hazardous material, which it is in most states, every state but his. And actually, he's getting the money to take that stuff now and take it to the dump. And I mean, it's just unreal. I broke it down on my show a couple weeks ago. You can read the whole expose that we did and the AP did and the news did. And this guy is dirty, man. We got to get him out of our party. Jumping to quick solutions and thus doing more harm than good, like the Democratic NPL did by bringing this lady, this carpetbagger from Nebraska in that doesn't know North Dakota, that's an adjunct professor. She's a temporary part-time adjunct professor from Nebraska. Nobody's known nothing about her. She's like a mother, I think, of 4 children. She's a professor. She's got all kinds of irons in the fire. Me, really, all I got is my small business and my son and my ex-wife. And, both my sons said they'll take over this business. My ex-wife, when I go to D.C., I'll just let them run this and I can take off. I'm free as a bird. I don't have anybody holding me down. I don't have any conflicts of interest. I have no girlfriend right now. I'm single. I could go to D.C. and do what I do for you here. Get the job done. I've got all the time in the world to work for you, the American people. I don't have to take care of little babies. I don't have to change diapers. I don't have to be a mother. I don't have to be a father. I want to work for you. That's what I've been doing for 4 years, and I want to continue that for the next 6 years in North Dakota. I don't have to be a husband to a wife because I don't have a wife. I'm single. I'm happily divorced now since 2000. I got divorced, and I get along great with my ex-wife now. We've known each other for 35 years. We're great friends. We talk every day. We have 2 sons together. We help each other out, and I mean, we couldn't have a better working relationship right now, and things are great. And yeah. Okay, well, back to this here. In our discourse about policies, we're conscious about the importance of balancing different points of view. For example, we look for balance between, the pursuit of individual liberty while focusing on the common good. We have to assume accountability for our individual actions as well as being accountable to one another, a respect for the Second Amendment while, for example, passing reasonable laws that require reasonable background checks. We've discussed this, and I think that background checks are important right now. And I like to know where these children, how they get all these guns, like this Rittenhour got a gun to go from his parents gave him a gun to go to these rallies and all these protests, and he killed people and he got off scot-free, And I think we need justice reform. We need new judges, and these judges are doing too many things right now that aren't justifiable. I think we got a Supreme Court, like I say, that's not elected. I've said on the show many times they're all political motivated by they're basically put in by politicians of political parties. It's all political. 9 Supreme Court justices, not elected officials, get in. It's all political parties put them in. We should either go to 12 Supreme Court justices, make it fair that way, or go to where they have to be elected by the people. I think we should start electing them and get it out of the hands of where they're appointed by the president and vetted by the Senate. I think we got to get rid of that, or just get rid of the Supreme Court altogether, because 9 people are controlling the fate of the elections now. They decided Bush v. Gore. They're taking up too many issues right now that they shouldn't be getting involved in. They're making too many decisions because we have lower courts, we have legislatures, we have courts of law that should be doing their job, and they're not, and they're just passing the buck to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court doesn't have to take these cases, but they are doing it, and then they shouldn't. And the Supreme Court in Obama, when he was president, he chewed them out, especially when they said that these PACs and all that can give unlimited money to politicians now. Did you know that? PAC money, corporations, they can give unlimited amounts of money to political candidates right now. From any corporation or whatever can give us unlimited money. And Obama, in his State of the Union address, I watched him do it. He chewed them out, chewed their ass out as they sat right in front of him. And I applauded him for doing that when he was the president, because he had the courage to chew the Supreme Court's ass out, and no one else does, because everybody else is scared of them and kissing their ass. And I'm not going to kiss their ass. And they're in there for life. You know that? and they're appointed. They're not even elected officials. And some of these people, have done things that they shouldn't even be doing. Like I say, why do we have lower courts? I mean, if our judges and that can't figure out the Constitution, and these people are elected by the people, and these are lawyers and that, and they got to divert everything to the Supreme Court just because they don't want to offend someone by their decisions because they want to get reelected as judges or they want to get reelected as legislatures. So they let the Supreme Court take the hit or whatever because they know the Supreme Court could do whatever they want because they're lifers. That's what they're doing. They just let everything go by default to the Supreme Court because they don't want to lose an election. Well, we'll just transfer it over to the Supreme Court and let them decide that because we don't want to screw up our chances of getting reelected. By default, we'll just send it to the Supreme Court. And that's what they're doing. Politicians are doing that. State courts are doing it. It's all about getting reelected, people. Come on. That's a little hint. That's a little secret from some of my political knowledge of being in this game for a long time. Yeah, the hanging chad. That's another thing. And, I got a cure for the hanging chad. Get thicker card stock and get bigger icons on the frickin' ballot cards and get a bigger drill bit. Maybe use a diamond head drill bit when you vote and have a drill bit going through a big, huge card, a bigger card and bigger, thicker card stock. I'm in the printing industry, okay? I publish books. I've been in mass communications, printing. I printed books. I worked in a printing company for 2 years, just all you need is a bigger card stock. Don't use a paper ballot. Use something that's like cardboard or something, a cardboard ballot or a card stock and something with bigger icons where you can read the damn thing. Because there's a lot of people that are visually impaired. They can't hardly read these frickin' ballots. And I've heard that from elderly people when I was working the polls many times. Said, man, I can hardly read that ballot. I don't even know what I'm voting on because they got these things written so screwed up. Have them written where laws are supposed to be written in plain English where anybody can read them. Laymen can read them, not a frickin' lawyer or Supreme Court justice. You're supposed to write these laws where a layman can understand them, which most of these things are written double talk and you can't understand them unless you are trained like me in the law. Then you can understand them. But these ballots and that are supposed to be written in plain English where a layman can understand them and you know what the hell you're voting on and they're not double talk, and make it at a thicker cardstock and have a diamond head titanium bit that comes down and goes through your ballot when you punch it and get rid of these corrupted electronic ones that a 11-year-old girl showed the FBI how she can hack in those things and change the numbers. And she did it. Many people have showed how they can hack these damn ballots. So there you go with that. Like I say, a celebration of entrepreneurship, is a big thing we want to do too. And like I say, we want to we want to stop jumping into quick solutions, and that's doing more harm than good, not realizing that our challenges are most complex and we need exploration from different points of view. Okay, that's why I'm talking about inclusive government. And I've said that a lot on this show. That's why I'm all about inclusive government. And I'm about equity, business ownership, and justice reform. Okay, there's a little more breakdown why I'm for it. I started off giving you what I'm for. Now I'm giving you examples of why I'm for it. Because people say, well, Michael Steele, you're not giving us the why you're for it. Well, I just did. And now I'm giving you the who, what, where, whens, and whys. I'm giving you the background of why I've been saying what I've been saying on this show for 9 months now. I've had this show. Now I'm giving you what the logic behind what I'm talking about, and it's going to show you I know what the hell I'm talking about. I've been working on this since I started this show. I take little notes and I type this all out. So you know what the hell Michael J. Steele really knows what the hell he's doing. So I don't sound like a fool on this show. Okay, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is who I'm not and who the Democratic Party is not. Okay, the real Democrats. We are not Americans who are hostile to our way of life or dangerous traitors engaged in evil plots. Okay, like some of you are saying out there. Please refer to the previous section that I just covered, including this is who we are and our party. We do uphold high values, okay? And I just went through the high values, and you can replay the program and it'll give you a list of what I just said. We are in no way, shape, or form pro-terrorist socialites, okay? Some of these Democratic MPLers are plain socialite and power grabbers because there is an agenda with Heidi Heitkamp to get all women in the state legislature and in the Fed. That's what she said. I'm all for that, but I'm not all for me donating 4 years of my life now to help a party that's dying here in North Dakota and fighting my ass off to keep this party alive and save the middle class. And then after 4 years, they all know I'm busting my nut here to get this thing going, and then they turn around and shaft me like they did. No, now they pissed me off. Now I'm staying into the end to win. Well, I was always planning on staying into the win. After 4 years of people coming and talking to me and that, you know, I'm gonna fight even harder now. That's why I wrote this little proposal in this thing right now. And I know I just sent this to all the Democratic NPL leaders. This podcast right now, I sent it right to them, and I hope they're listening. All of the leaders that were there actually got this sent to their emails and to their Facebook, so they're going to hear this tonight, and they're going to know who Michael J. Steele really is. I am a real Democrat, and I don't know who these kids are you hired and these people that nobody knows that are taking over the party because of money and kissing bass and taking orders. I'm not taking nobody's orders. I'm the damn senator. I'm the son of a gun that's running here, and I'm not the challenger to this Katrina Christensen that they're pretending I'm the challenger now. That's what some of these corrupt news channels are doing. But anyway, we are not pro-terrorist socialites. I'm by no means a socialite. Okay, I'm a small business owner. People know me in North Dakota. I've been here 44 years working my ass off for the company store, and now the last 5 years, I got a little tiny store that I run. The Democratic Party strongly denounces terrorism both at home and abroad. We believe in intelligence and information sharing about terrorist activities to ensure our country's safety and security. We are rebuilding strategic alliances with countries that share our values and face common threats. Federal law defines domestic terrorism as follows: involving acts dangerous to human life that are a violation of the criminal laws of the United States or of any state and appear to be intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, to influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion, or to affect the conduct of a government by mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping. We condemn rioting, looting, arson, and other forms of violence during peaceful protests. The intent of individuals involved in these acts, however, is not to coerce the civilian population, to influence a government policy through intimidation or coercion, nor to affect the conduct of a government by mass destruction, etc. Instead, they use the protest as a cover to meet their own individual needs. Although they're engaged in unlawful actions, their behaviors are not meant to overthrow our government, our institutions, or democracy. We are not socialists or communists, okay? The true Democrats like me, okay, from Earl Pomeroy's ilk, Byron Dorgan's ilk, and Ken Conrad's ilk. Okay, that's the Democrats I'm talking about. Socialism and its extreme form, communism, are forms of governments that own and control almost all business and industry, okay? Like Adolf Hitler, okay? They were the Democratic Socialist Party. That's what Nazi Germany had. And where are the major means of production and natural resources? Here, I'll start all over again. Okay, the Democratic Workers' Party was the Democratic Social Party over in Germany, okay? We are not socialists or communists. Let me repeat that. The Democrats, the true Democrats like me, like Byron Dorgan, Ken Conrad, Earl Pomeroy, them are my guys, okay? I worked with them guys. That's what North Dakota was producing and the best in the world. Now it's changed. Socialism and its extreme form, communism, are forms of government that own and control almost all business and industry, and where the major means of production and natural resources are also owned and controlled by the state. And I call it fascism also, okay? Whenever business and industry unify, like Italy, you got fascism in there too, okay? The dark kind of fascism, you know. We see this type of government in China, North Korea, Russia. You had it in Italy and Germany also. Same kind of crap, fascism, communism. It's all a frickin' ism, brothers and sisters, okay? Those countries typically have only one party, making them authoritarian regimes, okay? That's what Donald Trump was working on in America. He wanted to have an authoritarian regime. That's why he said, I'm going to go out and make sure I change the election in my favor. He went out and had people all across the country trying to make him the dictator, and he had an insurrection, which was like the beer hall putsch, you know, and I've said this on the show many times. You know, after Hitler and Göring and Hess and all these guys went out and they tried to overthrow the government of Germany, they all went to prison. While they were in prison, they convinced everybody in prison that they were doing it for Germany because the government was failing Germany. They wrote the book Mein Kampf, which is Hitler's book, My Struggle. And Hitler had everybody read his book. He was lying, saying, I'm this great leader and blah, blah, blah. So they got out and they used the beer hall putsch as they were heroes. And they sold this, that they were heroes, even though they were losers, went to prison, whatever. And they were trying to overthrow the government there. And they turned it all around and put it to their advantage. Well, guess what? 60 people now that were at the insurrection are running for state, federal, and local Senate races and House races and national races because they were at the insurrection pretending that they're heroes the same way that Hitler's movement did at the beer hall putsch. Okay, and some of these people that are going to prison for 5-6 years are claiming they're going to run for office too when they get out. So they're doing the Hitler tactic that they did in the beer hall putsch. I've studied history, and that's what's going on right now. So be careful, people. These people are dangerous, and when they do this, there could be another Hitler coming to America soon unless we wake up and vote them out and pay attention soon, okay? Democrats unequivocally reject these forms of government, all right? So we got to reject this when these evil heads wake up, these 60 people that are running saying, hey, we're heroes. We fought in that insurrection on January 6th, and Trump saying he's going to pardon all these people. People got killed. You don't put honest Americans in harm's way. A lady veteran, Mrs. Babbitt, got shot and killed right in the Capitol. My Lord. You know, you had 4 protesters died that day. 140 of our law enforcement officials were severely injured and were hospitalized. We don't get to see all the footage of that either. And then you had 5 law enforcement officers died. One officer was beaten in the head so bad with a fire extinguisher, he died the next morning of head injuries, traumatic head injuries. Then you had 4 more officers that committed suicide after that. I mean, come on, look at all the people that died. That's not an innocent protest. And then you had this Rhodes and this other guy that had a bunch of these crazy people hiding in hotels and had military grenades, rocket launchers, bombs in their cars. And they had it in hotels ready to go attack the Capitol and take it over as reinforcements to the people at the insurrection. There was a lot of money that was backing this thing. This thing was planned out for months. And this is all coming out. The American people are going to find out, and people are going to prison now, pleading, crying, and screaming. They don't want to go to jail. They're pleading guilty. They're copping out. They're snitching off everybody. They're all singing, and because none of these people want to go to jail, and they're mad at the president, Donald Trump, because he was supposed to pardon them and get them out of this, and he was supposed to go up there with them with the insurrection. He went and hid and watched this thing on TV, just like we, the American people, did, and he didn't stop it. You know who stopped it? Vice President Pence, who came out on the president and said he had to stop it, and he did his job, and he thought it was bullshit. He was not going to let Trump be the next president and stop Biden because he said Biden won the presidency. Republican after Republican, check after check that Trump brought to the courts, over 200 times he sued, all got thrown out of court, and Republicans, Democrats alike said our president won, and that's Joe Biden. So, and they're still trying this, anything they can throw at the wall, like spaghetti, if it sticks, they're trying to get something to stick. And that's what the shit's going on right now. We believe that capitalism is a better economic system because private ownership of business and industry make for a more vibrant economic system. Essentially, Democrats and Republicans disagree about how much corporations should be taxed or how much government should be involved in addressing issues of equality. This is right what I've been saying in North Dakota, folks. Right now, under the Republican leadership, under John Hoeven, now this is it in a nutshell, okay? We got the figures, we got the data. My team in Washington got this data for me. Get this. Corporations in North Dakota are the lowest. They pay the lowest in taxes, 1.6 to 2.6% they pay, depending on where they're at for our economic scale. Small business like me, I pay 21%. Joe Biden wants to raise it on small business 28%. Joe, not good. I'm a Democrat. Don't raise mine to 28%. When the corporations in North Dakota are paying the least amount of money under John Hoeven, and the rest of the Republicans here got it at 1.3 to 2.6% in my state. I got the numbers right in front of me. I'm looking at their actual data. Corporations in North Dakota get the biggest break of any other Republican state in the union. The next state is 6.3 and 9.8 in Minnesota. And that's it. The corporations pay less taxes in North Dakota than anywhere else. But a small business in North Dakota, like me, I pay 21% tax. I paid in $6,700 in taxes last year, and they took that from me. I don't get that back. So I get the shit knocked out of me for taxes with my little small business. That's how that goes, you know. And another thing, you know, there's so many differences of opinion, you know. However, these do not translate into Democrats choosing government that adopts socialist practices. Remember that. Calling Democrats socialists is gross mischaracterization of some of the progressive policies that the Democratic Party is advocating for, okay? We are fully supportive of American entrepreneurship, like me. I've been that way forever, and all the individual creativity that went into our country's advances in all areas. You know, we got advances in this country because of our entrepreneurship and small business development and being Americans and having freedom, you know, and we got the right to form businesses, you know. We got technology, the arts. I want to give the arts more money in North Dakota, which 4 years of Trump took away from the arts, gutted the arts, okay? Are you listening, art people in North Dakota? He gutted your arts, Trump, and we got a lot of people that love the arts here that are with the Democratic NPL. I know that, and I've supported your arts. I've paid money to go to your operas, your plays, your art galleries. I was the vice president of the Society of Disadvantaged Artists for 7 years in North Dakota, and we did art shows. We raised money, scholarship money. So I have ran a nonprofit in North Dakota too, and I was the vice president. So I have a little bit of experience running a nonprofit. I never shared with nobody. I kept a lid on that. I was a vice president of the Society of Disadvantaged Artists in North Dakota, where we let artists that couldn't get in the other galleries, because most of the art galleries in North Dakota, believe it or not, are full up for about 6 months to a year. That's how booked our art galleries are, and I got them in within a month. And we'd let them bring their art. We would advertise their art stuff. You know, within a month, they'd get about a month worth of free advertising. Our society would pay for that. We'd let them come in, set up their art show, and they'd keep all the proceeds and that. And we'd promote these artists, you know. We'd buy them art supplies or whatever they'd need to promote their art. And we had a scholarship, and it was dollars for scholars, you know. And I did that for 7 years, and we had a location in downtown Fargo. And we did that, and we helped the artists. So that's something else that you never knew about Michael J. Steele. We had the Society of Disadvantaged Artists. I was the vice president. So, I mean, I have ran nonprofits and worked with the state of North Dakota. So I do have experience working with the state here. And I just didn't tell anybody that. But I can't remember all the shit I've done in my life. I don't toot my own horn too much, but that's something I did. in North Dakota. So there you go. You learned something about me. I learned something about myself. I forgot that. But, and I'm proud of my accomplishments as being a Democrat, since I got an education at Minnesota State University, in Moorhead. Once I got an education, after 2000, I went to school at Minnesota State University because Bush was lying about weapons of mass destruction. I was a Republican for a while before that, and I left the Republican Party, and I become a Democrat. But I started out, our family were Democrats in Kansas City, with Harry Truman and that. Then I kind of went off to become a Republican because I was very religious. I liked the family values, and I liked strong military. I was in the party back when we had the conservative Christian movement. I was right there, for a long time. I was, because I was just spiritually connected with the conservative movement, but then after we got lied to with weapons of mass destruction and Bush took us in the Middle East, and I said, and I went and got an education at my college. I just said, no, I think I'm a Democrat, and I think I'm with these guys, and I was. So I become a Democrat in 2000, and that's 22 years ago, and I've stayed with the Democratic Party, the real Democratic Party, not this nonpartisan league that was great, and now I don't know, they better get it together, and they better not be being the way they were to me. I'll tell you that, because I'm the wrong person to mess with. Anyway, we are proud of our accomplishments. Us true Democrats, not these fake ones. In 2021, rather than getting mired into culture wars and obstructionism, we were remarkably efficient and advanced many positive programs, in March of 2021. Like I say, Congress passed a $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan to stimulate the economy during the COVID pandemic. It sought to address the needs of ordinary Americans like me. I'm an ordinary American. I'm no better than anybody else. I work hard. I put in 16, 18-hour days some days. Some days I don't even sleep. I can't remember when I went home and laid in my bed and slept. I've been falling asleep at my campaign headquarters with my head on my desk. This is how horrible it's been. But today, let's see here. I woke up today at 5 in the morning with my head on my desk. I actually went home, took my clothes off, got in my pajamas, laid in my recliner, threw a blanket over my head and fell asleep. Probably got about 6 hours of sleep. Thank God I needed it, because I couldn't even function, and I feel great now, and that's all I needed, So I'm back. I'm fired up and ready to go. We provided grants to small business owners, Democrats, with this $1.9 trillion thing, and that's what I'm working on in North Dakota. As long as these corporations, these Republicans let us in, or the Democrats let us in with the Small Business Committee, we've never had it here, but we could do it in the minority here in North Dakota. This could happen, and this will get some of this $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan money. I talked to Joe Biden. Our people have talked to Biden in Washington, and Joe's ready to give us this money if North Dakota will let us do it. It's going to help small business owners, local, state, and tribal governments. It's going to help us out, and it's going to provide support funds for health care, housing, and schools. If you're an employee with 25 or less people with your small business, your employees only pay 10%, and the state and Joe Biden's rescue plan will pick up the rest. So if you work for a small business, open a small business in North Dakota, and you go under the Michael J. Steele Plan Committee that we're going to be addressing this week, my staff in D.C., we're proposing this legislation in North Dakota. Your employee will only pay, if you're an employee of a business of 25 or less, or you start a business, you'll only pay 10%. You'll get a Cadillac plan, or an employer, As a result, the U.S. has recovered faster economically from the pandemic than other countries did because they did not invest as heavily in stimulus, see. Of note, the plan expanded the child tax credit by October 2021. $66 billion went to more than 36 million households, which cut the child poverty rate in half, okay? Even though this Republican leadership under John Hoeven, we still have, according to Health and Human Services of North Dakota, their facts say we have 22,000 children living under poverty still, even though Joe Biden's plan cut poverty in half. North Dakota still has 50% of our children, 22,000 children living under poverty, while John Hoeven enriches himself to the tune of $52 million in Washington, D.C., while we're still suffering with high heating bills and everything else, and no breaks for anybody in North Dakota. John Hoeven said if he was governor, he wants the numbers of people to shrink here and leave the state because we're overcrowded, he said. And that's back when we were at 650,000 people. Right now we have 790,000 people. He said we had too many people at 650,000 because he wants to remain the little Hitler, the dictator, and the Fuhrer here in North Dakota and remain in control so he can continue to get richer and richer and control everything. And he wanted to give maximum sentencing for first offenders in North Dakota. And he said that he wanted to get rid of unsavory people here in the state and run them out of here. And he wanted to decide who they were. Well, if that ain't discrimination, I don't know what is, okay? While he was not letting our college students vote, and he wasn't allowing our Native Americans to vote, and there's so much more. Now his best friend is Joe Manchin because he says he can work across the aisle, and Rick Becker can't do it, who they've lambasted, this poor guy, this surgeon, MD, a doctor, my lord, up there in Bismarck, who owns 9 clinics and radio TV stations. They ain't even letting this guy even get one wing off the ground. They've attacked him. Hoeven's people have paid off the radio news stations throughout North Dakota to destroy this man. I called Rick Becker the day he announced they were already attacking him on every local and national show throughout North Dakota. I said, Rick, man, these guys are destroying you out of fundamental fairness. I'm your opponent. I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to tell you what's going on here, man. This is bullshit. You got to defend yourself. So he sent KFGO a bunch of letters and that, but I'll tell you what, they're going after this poor guy, and that's not fair. They just wanted to act like I didn't even exist, and now they're some of these stations that are on the take said that I'm actually the challenger now to this gal, this from Nebraska that don't know shit from Shinola about the people in North Dakota. She's just basically getting paid to do what she's doing, either by Hoeven or Heidi Heitkamp, or maybe both of them. Hell, I don't know. Heidi Heitkamp basically didn't get reelected because she was for the Keystone XL pipeline, and she was basically acting like a fucking Republican when she was running the Senate there. You know, and that's why the North Dakotans said, she's a fucking Republican. What is she doing? We don't want her as our fucking senator again. They put in Kramer, who's the worst piece of shit in the world. He's like a carnival, he's like some carnival hack or something, you know. This guy is a nut. He just screams and yells at everybody and tells everybody, I'm going to do this, do that. He turned down the VA. The VA can't even get a hold of him. He just makes promises and doesn't get nothing done. Nobody can get a hold of him. He's horrible. And I've had Republicans say, run against him, get him out, but I can't because now they got this lady, Mrs. Hayter, now got in the race. September 3rd, she filed her FEC reports, which she's supposed to do, unlike this Katrina Christman or Christensen from Nebraska, didn't even file with the FEC, ain't doing shit. She ain't doing nothing by the book. She's a federal candidate. She's supposed to file by the book. She don't even know how to run a campaign. And they got her in there as a front runner now against me, and I've been there 4 years. Now they act like I'm going against her, and I'm the bully, and I'm the male chauvinist pig. No, she's going against me. She's the one that's attacking me, going against me. And that's how shitty the Democratic NPL is right now, and I'm so disgusted with them. And that's why I'm doing this show right now, dedicated that show and the last show to teach them what real democracy is. Okay, you know what I do? I support American families because I've raised a family and children, and I love the American Rescue Plan because it has made it possible for state and local governments to function throughout the pandemic. Democratic Party, the real Democratic Party, believes that Americans have money in their pockets and they can continue to pump money into the economy and thus keep governments viable financially, you know. And the Biden administration launched a strong vaccination campaign since its inception. As of December 2nd, 2021, 484 million anti-COVID doses were made available to the public. Okay, you know what Trump said? 6 months. He said it's a hoax. It's a hoax. Well, 450,000 people died because he kept saying it's a hoax while he was secretly getting ivermectin and other shots. You know, he said that on Woodward and Bernstein's thing, did the interview and caught him lying. They actually broadcast that. You know, the guys that did the Nixon, the Watergate deal, you know, them guys exposed all that. So we got that all figured out. Trump lied to the American people while he was getting secret treatment for the COVID thing and said, yeah, he told Woodward and Bernstein's guys that shit, this thing is horrible and blah, blah, blah. It's dangerous. It's deadly. And he didn't tell the American people while people were dying. Joe Biden got out there and started getting things done, scientifically started setting up vaccinations and saving lives, you know, and then Biden got into the war in Afghanistan and saves us $150 million a day. And he stopped the money. We were giving $750 billion a day to Somalia. And now that's under a dictatorship, and they're letting these Somalian children and women die because they're starving to death. They're all leaving that country trying to get into refugee camps so they can get a bowl of rice a day to eat, to live. You know, he cut off that money now, too. So Biden's saving America money so that he can take care of us here at home, and people don't even understand that. You know, this poor man, nothing's good enough for anybody, I guess. The Biden administration also launched, you know, the campaign since its inception, like I said, 484 million. That was back in December. 60.8% of the population were vaccinated. 200 million Americans, 72.5 have received one dose. You know, 16.3 received the booster shot. 16.7% of children between the age of 5 and 11 are vaccinated right now. That's about 16%. So December welcomed news that the path of economic recovery in our country is very strong right now, according to everybody, where our country's strong financially. Looks like, you know, recently 44% of the Omicron is dying out, so we're getting healthier too. So things are looking good. Furthermore, we learned that the U.S. is also the largest donor of vaccines globally. We are right now are the only country that's really donating vaccines to help save the world right now, and that's due to Democrats. You know, Trump would throw paper towels at them like he did with Puerto Rico. I'll never forget that, what he did to our country, our friends in Puerto Rico, part of the United States. He threw paper towels, the quicker picker-upper, you know, that's what he did. He said, let's just throw paper towels at Puerto Rico. Hey, how many paper towels you want? You know, that should take care of you after your whole country just got frickin' destroyed. You know, that's what he'll do. He'll throw you. Trump and the Republican agendas, you're on your own. We'll throw the baby out with the bathwater. You're on your own. Bye-bye. Furthermore, you know, believing that in today's world, no country can achieve maximum economic success without world allies. President Biden rejoined international agreements, you know, like I was pissed off when Trump got out of the Paris Climate Accord because I had friends in North Dakota that were Republicans that had millions and billions of dollars ready to be made and invest in the green energy jobs. I mean, that was the movement all across the country till Donald Trump's first year. He got us out of the Paris Climate Accord, and he got this guy into the EPA that legalized asbestos again. And I did some research on that, and him and Putin, Trump and Putin wind up partnered up and built a bunch of apartment buildings over in Russia together. That's why Trump went over there so many times, where they legalized asbestos here, the head of the EPA, and they sent it over to Russia, where all these apartment buildings and all that Trump and Putin partnered in they're going to be putting this asbestos now in all these apartments over in Russia. Because Trump told Putin how great asbestos is for insulating and all that, so he sold Putin on asbestos. And the head of the EPA in America that he had went with it. But you know what? Joe Biden got this hack out of there and got real people that are real scientists and real environmental people that give a shit about the environment and took it over and got people back in, brought us back into the World Health Organization, got our membership back after Trump eliminated that, and he paid our dues, and he got us back into the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and he got us back in that Paris Climate Accords, you know, and that's all about green energy. And these were a lot of Republicans in North Dakota that lost a lot of money over Trump. And I hope you Republican friends of mine that are listening that we're going to invest millions and billions of dollars in that get back into it, but I hope it's not all lost and you guys didn't go somewhere else and lose your money, because we had a lot of conservative, environmentally friendly Republicans. Not all Republicans are bad. They were ready to go over to this climate deal and sell their wares over there and get going. So green energy is a big deal, and we're not only making money, we're saving the frickin' planet for our children and grandchildren, and I hope people get back into that. Back in August and September, I took some notes. We airlifted more than 124,000 people, out of Afghanistan. I was covering this on my show daily. I was covering this, and that whole ordeal, according to the dates I took down, lasted 6 weeks. This was the largest airlift in U.S. history, folks, and we lived through a part of history. I didn't even realize that at the time. These evacuations continued via diplomatic channels. Our CIA, we even went over there and negotiated with the frickin' Taliban, which was the student government. These people, were back in the 80s. They fought the Russian army through Wilson. Wilson, CIA guy, gave them the Stinger missile, and these students actually beat the Russian government with our help through back channels with Wilson. They made a movie about it called Wilson's War. And with Tom Hanks played the CIA guy. And these guys are the little kids now, the little college kids. Taliban means student government. The Taliban now are running the country. These guys are imams and clerics. They're 60, 70-year-old men now, these little student government guys, and they're running the country. But our CIA was over there negotiating with these guys, and they took over power now. And I just thought, man, the irony how everything changes. But anyway, we lived through history. We saw the largest airlift in U.S. history. Evacuations continue via diplomatic channels, an extraordinary operational achievement. For the sake of comparison, we airlifted 7,000 people out of Saigon after Vietnam War, and that was in 1975. So remember that famous day on the roof of Saigon, in 75. So we did 124,000 in Afghanistan. So what a feat, folks. And there was, I broke the story no one's talking about. We got a lot of people out of there, a lot of Afghanis commandos and soldiers from a secret air base, CIA air base. We were moving 50 jets. We got more people out of there, too, our allies, through a secret base we had hidden in Afghanistan. While everybody was watching our troops get killed, 13 of our soldiers got blown up that day. We had 50 other commercial air jets, CIA air jets, coming out of a secret hidden base we had in Afghanistan, too, that day. And Michael J. Steele broke that story here, too. And we were not only moving 124,000 off the base everybody's seen on TV, we moved another 150,000 people off the CIA base that same period of time. So you could pretty much double this number. We got 300,000 people out of there. So this was really extraordinary what happened that day. Back in November 2021, the Biden administration worked very hard with ports and supply chains to move goods to our communities, our homes. The administration mobilized industry leaders, port managers, and workers to clear the freight packed on docks. As a result, we learned that, for example, imports through the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach are up 16% from 2018. I might cover that on this show. Those two ports have cleared about 1/3 of the containers setting on their docks. Shipping prices are now down 25%, which is good, on the docks. Not shipping for United States Postal Service or FedEx. Them prices are through the roof. I'm a small business owner. I ship every day. They're killing me, okay? They're hitting me with 1,000 cuts right now. But this is shipping prices were down 25% at this time in 2021 in November because Biden got involved. Business leaders such as Doug McMillon, CEO of Walmart, expressed their appreciation for the hard work that the Biden administration did to move the supply chain forward. That was in November of 2021. We covered that on this show. During the summer of 2021, we witnessed difficult infrastructure bill negotiations. They culminated in the signature of a $1.2 trillion bipartisan deal known as the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. In addition to dollars set aside to repair our roads, which we need, and I've been talking about infrastructure, people, for 30 fucking years. Republicans didn't do shit about it. We did something about it, the Democrats, okay? Minneapolis roads, California, roads, all over the country, Chicago, New York, our roads have been collapsing all over. You can see it on national channels. Nobody did nothing about it. You know who did something about it? The real Democratic Party. We did something about it. Okay, we set aside dollars, and we've been repairing roads right now, bridges, railroads, and public transportation. We're doing that now because of the $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill that was almost killed by 6 Democrats wanted to kill the bill. Joe Manchin and Sinema were 2 of them wanted to kill it. 13 Republicans said it's a good bill. We're going to pass it for you, Joe. We like the bill. Guess what? The Republican Party saved the bill. Thank you, Republican Party. They saved the fucking bill. Not the damn Democrats. The Republicans saved Joe Biden's bill because they knew it was good for the country, and they knew it would provide a lot of money for their states to fix the mess that their states had. Okay? Pardon my language. But 6 Democrats wanted to double-cross Joe Biden. You know why they did that? You know why? Why they did that? Because, hold on here. I'm going to talk to you in a minute here. Hold on here. You know why they did? You know why they did that? Because they were getting a lot of heat. These legislatures, these 6 Biden, because they were getting a lot of heat, folks, from their constituents were calling over the Afghanistan deal, and they were trying to discredit Joe Biden, the Republicans, over anything he did. And these sissy legislatures wouldn't stand behind the president at the time like I did and been doing, even though he pissed me off about the school loan deal and other things, and I talked about it. I jumped him for that and told him, you're not popular here, and I don't like what you're doing there. When I talk to the president, I tell him things, hey, I don't like this, I don't like that. Take care of this, Joe. That's not good, that's not great. I've talked to him, and I tell him what I think. He's not perfect, he's only a human being, but I'd like for him to get rid of the loans. You know, he says he's only going to wipe 10,000. We want to get him to wipe 50,000. Democrats, Republicans alike, you know, get rid of this debt. Because if these jobs ain't there when these kids graduate, then you lied to them. You know, you've given them all this advanced training and these huge debts, and they can shove these degrees up their butt. They can't do nothing with them. Then what are they going to do? Stuck with this huge debt. And then, you know, once you have debt, you get deeper and deeper in debt because all the high interest that they tack on there. And it's not a good way to invest in the future. They can't buy homes. You know, the homeowners association said students can't come in and buy a house now. That hurts the market. You know, there's no ownership. Students can't do this. They can't do that. They're not investing in the economy. And what do? We're screwed. We need our students because they are the biggest part of the workforce, college graduates, you know. So, Joe, help them out. Help our students. I'm still trying to get you to pass that, and you haven't. And you've gotten rid of some of the school loans from corrupt colleges, $1.8 billion from these colleges that actually don't have job placement and actually were stealing from the students. They got rid of that, but I'm talking about the whole thing, you know, across the country. Okay, so during the summer of 2021, we witnessed difficult infrastructure bill negotiations, which culminated in the signature of the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill. We've talked about that. Known as the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act, which set aside money, which is going on right now. We're repairing our roads right now, bridges, railroads, public transportation. This was needed in this country for 30 years. I've been talking about this. We got it now. It's happening. It's creating jobs. It's helping. We needed this bad. Joe Biden got it done. It gives $15 billion to remove lead pipes in drinking water. This was one I've been talking about, and this is for pregnant mothers that are nursing their babies. They need clean water. We do not want to give baby formula with lead in it in their drinking water. So right now, we got $15 billion to remove lead pipes in drinking water. That's going on now. Okay. We got $21 billion to clean our rivers and lakes. That's going on now. $73 billion to upgrade the electrical grid in our country. That's going on now. $63 billion to bring high-speed internet across the country. That's going on now. $75 billion to build stations to charge electric vehicles. That's good. That gets rid of our carbon footprint. We got $2 billion right now this is a really cool one right now for North Dakota. If they get involved here, $2 billion to bring transportation to rural areas. I like that one. Hear that, North Dakota? $2 billion to bring transportation to rural areas. $47 billion to protect against wildfires and flooding in coastal zones. President Biden said because of this law, next year will be the first year in 20 years that infrastructure investment will grow faster than China's. Hear that? This infrastructure next year, when all this money's released, will grow faster than China's. The U.S. ended the year with 6.4 million more jobs. Okay, we ended 2021 with 6.4 million new jobs than there were at the end of 2020. This is the largest increase in the history of the United States. And people are still knocking this president. You people got to be crazy. The unemployment rate dropped from 6.4% to 3.9%, the largest one-year decrease in United States history. The first time in 50 years a president has had an unemployment rate below 4% in his first year in office. This is unheard of. This president is kicking ass, folks. Even with Donald Trump's pandemic, jobless claims were about 207,000 last week, close to the lowest in 50 years. Okay? 50 years. The October-November jobs report were revised as well, adding a combined 141,000 jobs. Wages climbed by, well, they're up 4.7% year over year. So that's pretty good. Robert Shapiro, a national economic consultant, said we made unbelievable gains in 2021. Real GDP in the United States increased 8%, and that's adjusted for current inflation. The Federal Reserve expects the growth to be 6% for 2021, followed by another 3.8% in 2022. Contrast this with the real GDP growing at a rate of less than 3% between 2000 and 2019. So we went from 3% up to 8% under Joe Biden in 2022. We're kicking ass. The stock market is booming. The S&P index rose 22% in 2021. Americans' disposable income grew 3% after inflation from January to October 21st. Contrast this with 0.5% under the Trump administration under 2019 and 1.7% in 2018 under the Trump administration. So right now, we're doing very good with Joe Biden. Incomes are up. Personal savings climb, making it possible for families now to finally pay off their debt and start making new purchases. So we are doing very well, all in all, except for high inflation right now and the pandemic in the United States, which is really kind of hurting us at the moment. And right now we're going to go to our continuation to move forward plan in the United States. And this is another part. We got, 38. We got about another 12 minutes. I think I can get some of this in here because I got a lot of stuff I've done in this show in the last 8 months, and I'm just trying to take notes I've taken and I'm trying to do things quantitatively here because people say, well, where'd you get this information you've been saying on the show? Well, I got the data here just to prove I know what the hell I'm talking about, like a political scientist or a student. You know, I can back what I say and say what I back, and I've got all the data here, and I keep the data because I don't put nothing on the air that I don't believe is true, you know. Building the economy by supporting regular Americans is what I want to do, you know. Small business development is what it's all about. We already witnessed the success of President Biden's return in economic policy that focuses on getting money into the hands of ordinary Americans. The Democratic Party is going to continue to explore ways of investing in all people. The real Democratic Party, not the one that dissed me at the convention in Fargo a couple days ago. They're not even a Democratic Party. They are the Nonpartisan League, which was acting very partisan against Michael J. Steele, yours truly. While acknowledging the significant contributions of American corporations, we believe that when millions of Americans are kept on the sideline, a stagnating middle class, and millions trying to escape the cycles of poverty, the vitality of our entire economy is severely sapped. Okay? That's what I believe. I'm going to repeat this. This is while acknowledging the significant contributions of American corporations, we believe that when millions of Americans are kept on the sideline, a stagnating middle class and millions trying to escape the cycles of poverty, the vitality of our entire economy is severely sapped. And that's what's going on right now. Americans are not looking for handouts, okay? Stop saying we're looking for handouts, because we're not. Americans want to contribute to the strength of our nation. But inequality and financial concerns related to health care, college, daycare, and drug costs, among others, not only make life intolerable and unstable for many families, they also limit our nation's ability to prosper both socially as well as economically, people. Okay, these are the facts. You know, when I talk off my head, this game, I was thinking about these things, what I say in here. This is the facts, people. Okay, strengthen America's labor class. We've been trying to do it for years, you know. In North Dakota, where I live, they don't give a shit about labor class here. They could care less. You're just a number here. You're a throwaway tool. And they only care about the employer. This is an employer-friendly state. They don't give a shit about the workers here. And they've been that way for over 100 years here. But we're trying to get small business ownership where we can fight back that way and show some resistance. But anyway, this is what I want to try to do in the process. I want to strengthen America's labor class because we haven't been investing in our country for several decades. We haven't, especially in North Dakota. The passing of the infrastructural bill will give us an opportunity of regaining our edge over other nations, such as China. As our president said, this law is blue-collar blueprint, okay? Blue-collar blueprint, the backbone of the country where these coward, rich, 1% bastards are getting rich off the backs of the poor, and they blame the poor and everything gets wrong, and they steal from the poor people. That's what they've been doing. I'm going to be honest with you. The rich are coward son of a bitches, and they get rich off the backs of the poor by blaming the poor and stealing from the poor. All right? That's the straight dope, and you heard it from me, Michael J. Steele. And I can't give you any other answer to that because I've studied this shit for fucking years. Okay, here we go. We will loan on our labor force to make us the most resilient, innovative economy in the world, including the repair of 20,000 miles of road. 10,000 bridges need repair, and we're doing that now. The bill also includes funding to jumpstart advanced manufacturing and training dollars for millions of workers. You know, Ford right now, I've been saying on the show, I said it many times, they're going to build 24 state-of-the-art electric car plants, the biggest investment Ford's ever done in 118 years of production right here in America. Ford Motors, they're building, they said by 2030, they want half of their production to be electric cars. They partnered up with the Korean battery company that'll be making the batteries for these cars. We're going to have 24 plants in the United States making electric cars. That's going to put American workers back to work. We're going to be the leaders in the nation. That's why my Ford stocks went from $8 to $28 a share, people. In 3 months, I made some money. Guess where that money went? To the campaign. I spent that money. Right now, we're bleeding. The campaign is hemorrhaging because everybody wants a piece of Michael J. Steele. I've done 9 interviews in the last 3 days. National news. Everybody's talking to me. We're hot right now. Okay. A week ago, The Hill did a report, said Michael Steele's mounting a campaign against John Holt. I sound like a general like Patton or MacArthur or something. And they said, but he hasn't picked up steam yet. Well, I'm picking up steam now. I did 9 interviews, national news, everything. We're rolling now. I got people coming out of the woodwork. I got volunteers. Well, guess what? This shit all costs money for this campaign. So if you could dig deep and tell your friends, brothers about me that I'm the real deal, Michael J. Steele. I'm not only defending democracy throughout the Dakotas, I will defend democracy throughout the nation. I'm the last true vestige of real democracy in North Dakota, in the nation. Well, not in the nation, in North Dakota. The nation's doing pretty damn good with democracy. There's a lot of great democratic states out there, but I'm talking about North Dakota. To dig deep, go to www.michaeljsteelforsenate.com. Click on the icon. Find out a little bit about me there. It's not all there because it'd be a lot of books about me if I had it all on the website. But go to www.michaeljsteelforsenate.com. Please donate whatever you can. You can donate up to $5,600 to the campaign. And guess what? When you donate, you get to get in the raffle to win a Howard Miller clock with beautiful clock worth $350, brand new, still in the box. We're going to have the drawing live on the air April 1st on this show, and you get a chance to win it. And if you donate more than once, say you send $20 to the show, and then a month later, a week later, April 1st, you got to do it before April 1st, but you say a week later or the next month, you throw in another 20 or $10. I'll have that on there. I'll see your name twice when I get the numbers from the campaign, and we'll put your name in the hat twice. So if you do it 3 times, you get 3 chances of winning. So you can go 10-10-10 or 20-20-20 or 5-5-5, however you want to do it, and you can have multiple entries into the drawing. So that's a good way to do that. The bill also includes funding to jumpstart advanced manufacturing and training dollars for millions of workers. And that's kind of what this bill that Joe Biden's working on. So Democrats are looking out for you and the American people. We're getting shit done. I don't know what the hell Trump did for 4 years, but divide this country and give tax breaks to the 1%ers and the wealthiest corporations and wealthiest people in the world. He gave tax breaks to 500 of the biggest corporations in the country, and you can check out every news company that it's out there. Newsweek, CNN, USA Today, 500 companies didn't pay any taxes the 4 years he was in. And that's not me saying that you can do your freaking research. I've done it. I do it all the time. Right now, we'd like to ensure our right to vote. And a recent statement, Joe Biden emphasized that we should be making it easy for people to vote, not harder, which I'm all for that. I want to get this Lewis voting rights bill in, and I don't like voter suppression like these states right now are taking away the mail order voting, which is bullshit because there's a lot of disabled people in the country. There's a lot of elderly people. There's a lot of military people that can't get out to vote. There's people that are bedridden in wheelchairs. There's a lot of our disabled vets that vote from home that don't have no legs and arms. They can't get anywhere. I mean, this is total bullshit, total voter suppression, and I don't like it at all, President Biden made it clear that we got to focus on voting rights, and that is a top priority for all Democrats across the country. I'm one of them right here in North Dakota, and I know what happened to our Native American brothers and sisters in our state right here for years, and they had to take this finally to the Supreme Court and to get in the franchise to vote, which is bullshit because we live in 2022, and they were denied the right to vote here. Oh, man, can you believe my state, how horrible that was, North Dakota? You should be ashamed of yourselves, North Dakota. Come on. Inaction is not an option, people. Come on. We live in America. Where's the sit-ins? Where's the protesters, the yuppies? I guess everybody become yuppies. Where's the sit-ins of the protests of the 60s? Protection of our voting rights underpins all that Americans care for. In our country, we are currently witnessing an attempt to subvert voting rights by creating a disinformation ecosystem and barriers to access voting booths, engaging in extreme gerrymandering. I talk about this every night on my show. I've been bitching and complaining about it, even in an attempt to stop the certification of free and fair elections in America. I mean, this is unfrickin' believable. For example, the Department of Justice is suing Texas for its aggressive gerrymandering that leads to discrimination. People, get this. It's against large populations of blacks, Latinos, and Asian voters, and puts it in favor of white voters. Come on, Texas. I mean, what the hell's going on? What is going on here? The Democratic Party supports the Freedom to Vote Act. So do I. It would provide for automatic and same-day voter registration and a 2-week of early voting, as well as allow anyone to vote by mail. It would also limit the practice of cooling of voters off voter rolls, which they're doing all over the country right now. We also support the John Lewis Act, which I'm big into this John Lewis Act, okay? And this is the act that restores the power of the Department of Justice to prevent states from restricting the vote. I mean, this is what we had as a powerful tool in the country, because it would let the government come in with the military or the guard to say, hey, we're going to get involved here. You're restricting the vote, people. Well, guess what? When the Voting Rights Act expired, that's why we got this John Lewis Act to bring it back. We lost. Okay? That's why we got to get this John Lewis Act in to restore the Voting Rights Act, because America, we lost. Everything we gained with the Civil Rights Movement, everything that America died for, people died for this, we lost, people. The 1965 Voting Rights Act, we lost. If we don't get this John Lewis Voting Rights Act in, we lose. Okay? We lose. And we go back to 1964. And we don't want to do that. We're there now. We got to get this passed. In November 2021, more than 150 political scientists submitted a letter to Congress warning that the American democracy is at critical risk right now. Okay, 150 top political scientists wrote that. They wrote that the absence of free and fair elections would result in an extended period of minority rule, which we don't want, which a minority of the country would reject, an undemocratic and illegitimacy, turn it into an illegitimate government. When you have a minority rule, the rest of us don't count. That we don't matter. You know, that's what George Washington, all our founding fathers said. When the power of the country gets in the hand of the few, you no longer have an American form of government. You no longer have a republic. You no longer have a democracy. You don't have America anymore. When the hands of the power get in the hands of the few, you no longer have a legitimate government, people, okay? That's what Washington and all our founding fathers warned us about. Then we're in trouble. Then your voice is shut out. Then it's almost like a dictatorship. Then it's fascism, socialism. That's socialism. You know, when you have a few people running the show and your voice don't count, you're in trouble. And that's what's going on here if we don't get this Voting Rights Act back. And I hope you understand that. This would have grave consequences not only for our democracy, but for political order, economic prosperity, and the national security of the United States as well. That's what 150 top political scientists said in a letter to Congress. They're warning them that American democracy right now is at critical risk. People, wake up. Combating international terrorism and lawlessness through cybersecurity is a big one. The Justice Department and the Treasury Department and State Department cooperated to indict and sanction foreign actors of cyber attacks on U.S. companies. I got to see what time it is here. I'm going on. My show might have closed up. Okay, we're going to close in 7 minutes. I'm so grateful that you are still here, Class 1 Probe, and those here that stayed through the show. And this is for kind of an educational thing and kind of a little bit of a review for some of you that know the program. But I just want to quantify everything I've been talking about so you know that I know what the hell I'm talking about. Here we go. Combating international terrorism and lawlessness through cybersecurity is a big issue right now. The Department of Justice, the Treasury Department, State Department cooperated to indict and sanction foreign actors of cyber attacks on U.S. companies. The State Department has offered a $10 million reward for information about cyber criminals intent on curbing ransomware attacks that impact businesses and public safety. Yeah, I like Class 1 Probe said, I vote with ID. Why do Dems believe that some minorities ain't smart enough to get ID? And isn't that racist? It's just odd nowadays who doesn't have. Well, you have to have a voter ID, a state ID, or a driver's license or state ID, Class 1 Probe. I don't know what you're talking about. That's North Dakota. That's about anywhere I've talked to. You have to have picture ID to vote when you go to the polls. It's just North Dakota right now, Republican state. All you need here is a state ID or a driver's license and your electric bill that shows that you've paid your electric bill for a month, and you can vote in North Dakota. We have open registry here, and it's been like that for 50 years, 60 years in North Dakota. So, I mean, you don't even have to register to vote in this Republican state, if that tells you anything. So, and that's North Dakota, And these mail-ins, don't worry about it. There's little things. I've done the polls, even in mail-in, they're vetted. The mail-in ballots are vetted. But guess what? The mail-in ballots aren't even voted till the end, and a lot of the mail-ins are counted because if the candidate wins by a higher margin of proportionality, like say you won by 50,000 votes and there's 10,000 mail-in ballots to be counted, they don't even count them at the end because you've already won by 50,000, and those 10,000 don't even amount to a hill of beans. They're not even going to mean that you've lost because you won by 50. If you count the 10,000, even if they went to the other candidate, you'd still win by 40. So mail-in ballots are counted at the end, okay? In every state, they're the last thing to be counted, okay? And the only time that they are counted, is if it's close, all right? That's in a close election. In a lot of states, I'm going to tell you the truth, they don't even count them unless it's a close race. And that's how it really is, all right? Because they ain't got time to count it. And if there was a recall, guess who's got to pay for it? The challenger has to pay for it out of his pocket unless it's under so many numbers. If it's like under, I think, 10,000 or 5,000 in some states, then there's a mandatory recall. Then it is paid for by some of the states. Okay, or the election committee that pays for it or eats it, Okay, winning the global technology race. We got about a few minutes. I think we're just going to sign out here now, and I'll get back. We got a lot more next couple shows we're going to do. We got 1, 2, let's see here. We got about 3 more parts of this. We can probably do 1 or 2 more shows, but we'll still take in call-ins. What is Class 1 Probe says, not in my state mail-in? Well, there is vetting on these mail-ins because a lot of people, they check your address and they check a lot of when there's a mail-in. See, some people say, well, anybody can say they live at an address. Well, guess what they do? When that thing gets mailed out, the state or the people that mail it out, they check to see if you voted before and if your driver's license numbers match the address with the person that's voting. A lot of this stuff is correlated into your state driver's license. See, there's a check thing. I know this because I work the polls and I've asked a lot of questions. When they send you out a ballot in your state, they've already checked with the motor vehicle department. They want to make sure your address actually is located where they send that ballot. And if it's not, sometimes they'll find out like you don't live there. They'll throw that ballot out if they're not certain. When in doubt, they throw a lot of them ballots out. So that's why I have to go over now that I'm getting all these ballots right now. Even the ones I'm getting with these people are showing me their IDs and everything. When they sign my ballot to get on the primary, they show ID and all that, but they'll still check. These still get vetted by the department. But I'm going over because I don't know how many the states are going to throw away here, when these go to the Secretary of State in Bismarck, North Dakota. I don't know what the Republicans are going to do. They might throw a shitload of these out, but these do get copied, certified, and notarized with my attorney, and I have proof. I'll have proof for me. I'll have copies. If there's anything that doesn't look right. Good night there, Class 1 Probe. Yeah, I did 2 shows today. It was great talking to you. I hope you guys learned something. And those that, the Secretary of Suppression, we call him in North Dakota, he's actually retiring, Al Jaeger, this year. And he's one of the reasons why our Native American brothers and sisters in North Dakota didn't get the right to vote for many years here. And he took a lot of heat, been taking a lot of heat lately, and he's retiring this year. Al Jaeger, and he's caused a lot of problems here, and caused even our students the last few times couldn't vote, our college students. So I know what you're saying, man. Well, thank you for listening, Class 1 Probe. Thanks for hanging in there. This is the Michael J. Steele for Senate show. I'm running for United States Senate, the great state of North Dakota. Still a great state, but we need to do some correcting here, and we need to set the record straight. That's why I'm here. People get off course. We got to get them back on course, and that's why I'm doing this program. The last two programs are about what democracy is all about, the history of democracy, what we're doing right now, what Michael J. Steele's been doing on this show, why, the who, where, what, whys, and whens, why I'm doing it, and who I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for you, the American people. I'm doing it for my children and hopefully grandchildren one day, and for those that are here right now, for my constituents, and even those that aren't my constituents. I'm doing it for everybody, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Libertarians. I'm telling you where I'm coming from. And this is a little bit, that's what we do. We educate and inform. That's what a senator's job is. And hopefully I will be able to have a good enough argument to persuade you to vote for me in the primary and win this election. And, and I have to give you evidence of what I've been saying on the show. I'm doing it tonight, and I'm adding, quantifying what I have had to say, and it's right here. And I'm quoting it, and I'm giving you quotes and everything and dates. And I've kept records. I don't just throw out, I don't create this stuff and write it up as I go like some candidates are like they do. Some political parties write it up as they go. But you can listen to the show Monday through Sunday, the Michael J. Steele Show. I usually come on about 8 or 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, weather permitting. I've missed one show because of bad weather, and I was sick. But other than that, I've been going strong since June 1st on this show. It's a 2-hour program. Tonight we did 2 episodes. Once in a while we'll do 2 episodes if we got something really good to talk about like we did tonight. And I'd like to thank you for tuning in. And that's what it's all about. I'm Michael J. Steele, and I support these messages. Have a good night, and remember to vote.